So, you want to know how rappers and brands are killing their careers with social media? It's pretty straightforward and pretty cut and dry. One of the biggest things I'm seeing a lot of these brands and rappers are doing nowadays is they're just completely gushing online about everything that is wrong. They never take the time to celebrate their successes, if they have any for that matter, which more often than not, a lot of them don't. Let's start off with what you're doing wrong or what they're doing wrong. And I don't know what side you fall on, but what it comes down to is if you are a rapper and you find yourself going, oh, nobody listens to my music, and instead of going, hey, let's make this music better, hey, let's make my image better, let's have something interesting to talk about. Instead of doing those things, you just go, well, let's take to Facebook or Twitter and just go and complain about everything that's wrong, about how you should follow me, you should support me. Nobody fucking owes you, first off. They think that because they added 5,000 people on Facebook, that those 5,000 people, if they just gave them $1, that's the most fucking bitch ass goddamn logic too. What do you mean if they just gave you $1? You're not the main character in a fucking story. You're the main character in your life story, yeah. But you are not the main character of the story of life in general. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is the main character in their own life. So why the fuck they gonna give you $1? We all need $1. Speaking of which, if you want to give me $1, go over to my Patreon. I'm the main character in my life story. So go ahead and throw $1 at me. But I'm actually going to be giving you some content as we keep moving forward. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing these kind of things too. As probably the laziest fucking thing I can do. But I realize people like listening to me talk. So not to be egotistical or anything like that. It's just the fact that I'm basing this on the science. That's right. The test results are in. And people like listening to me talk, it seems. But getting back to the topic of what we're talking about here is how rappers and brands are killing their careers with social suicide. Social media, sorry. Whoa, Freudian slip there. What it is they just assume that if they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over, that at some point it's going to pay off and hit pay dirt. But the thing is, that's the definition of insanity. There's never been a time where doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over will get you a different result. I mean, in some cases it probably could. There's going to be comments like, well, what about when you do this and then the oceans corrode the coast? Shut up. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about choices you're making as a person. And so if you show up to work every day doing the same damn thing, you know what I'm saying? Where do you think you're going to get in life? You're going to just be working at that same job. Oh, I would know about that. I did that for almost 18 years for a grocery store. And man, that shit fucking sucked. Okay. But I kept doing the same thing every day, thinking, oh, something's going to change. And guess what? It never did. So I made that change. I got up out of that shit, started pursuing artwork and music and trying to figure out where I was as an artist and where I stand. But that's a whole nother topic to get into. Now, the biggest problem I see is like I'll be scrolling on Facebook or even Instagram and you'll see like, nobody's buying my shirts. Nobody's buying this or that. And it's like, why are you talking about it? When you're posting these things, being negative about your brand, if you don't believe in what you're doing, nobody else is going to believe in what you're doing. And that's like the biggest takeaway here. So people will ask me for advice all the time. Like, how do you sell it? How do you do this? How do you do that? I don't have that advice to just distribute at a moment's notice. Because if I did that every time someone hit me up, all I would be doing is copying and pasting and essentially spamming people how to be successful. And I hate spam. That's why that's an ironic statement. And also, I don't like dancing on command. You see, for me to distribute that information to you, if you ask me, it's a pain in the ass. I don't want to do it. Now, I'll do it in this format here in a video because then I get something from it too. You see what I'm saying? It's a give and take. But why would you post, oh, nobody buys my shirts? Or if you're selling CDs or music, nobody comes to my shows except for my friends and family. That's why they don't go to your shows, is because only your friends and fucking family are going. And why are they going? They're going out of fucking what? Guilt? They're going because you badgered them? I don't know. I used to perform shows, and I remember there was this one I did out in Sacramento at the Boardwalk, and there was this group performing right before mine, and this is my first time playing at this venue, and so what happened was this group was performing, and you see all these people dancing and jumping and like showing support, and then Once they got off stage, they all left. And at first I was like, damn, they got a real supportive fan base. And then word of mouth came around. So like, nah, that's like their family members and friends. They're at every shit. Like if you ever perform with them again, you'll see the same exact people. And so what do you gain from that other than looking like, you're successful? You see where I'm going with that? It's not like new people showing up to come, because that's what would happen for me and everybody else. You get some new people showing up, and those people want to buy CDs. I can tell you how many times, like I perform and people would go, holy shit, man, I never heard of you. This is dope. Let me buy a CD. But see, that's the thing too. That's the kind of stuff that you post, the inspirational shit. See, if you're posting about how nothing is working for you, and then you're just like, well, hey, I'm thinking about deleting my page, which happens all the goddamn time. People do that. Well, I'm going to delete my page. I'm going to quit rap. It's always this like quitter's attitude, quitter mind state. And I think that's where you have to figure out where you fall in all of this stuff. If you're pursuing things, music, merchandising, making a brand, whatever it is you're doing, selling cups on Etsy, I don't care what you're doing. If your attitude is, well, if this doesn't work, I'm going to quit. I'm a quitter, then you're a quitter. You got to understand the difference. You can't just go, well, I'm not a quitter. I'm going to do the same thing 100 times over and over. And if it doesn't pay off, then I'll quit. You're still a quitter. You have to learn how to like refine what you're doing, find what works, and figure out how to play that note again without making it too repetitive. So for me, for instance, I know that with my shirt brand, I do mashups, a certain kind of mashup. I have a formula. And you can go, well, you're just hitting the same note over and over. And in a way, I am. In a way. When I do something that doesn't work, I take notes. And when I do something that does work, I take notes. I was in one of my courses for color and design, and the professor would have us post up on the wall our assignments. And he would just have us all compliment something about every piece of work that was on the wall. We all hated this. I didn't give a shit. And then he would be like, all right, now what sucks about this, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing. And everybody would get nervous because they don't want to talk bad on other people, or they don't want to hear other people talk bad on them. And for me, I didn't care because I realized what was going on. That criticism and that compliments, none of it meant shit, but you could learn from all of it. You learn from the compliments and you can learn from the criticisms. But I think a lot of people are afraid of getting that criticism. And so when they have a failing album or a failing brand or failing Etsy, Tumblr cup page, whatever the hell y'all sell, the problem is when someone tells you something's not good, it doesn't mean you have to take that at face value, but you should probably question, hey, maybe this isn't good. At least look at it from an outsider's perspective. Like, would you buy that? And don't say, yeah, I would buy that because I made it. Cut that part of your brain out of it for a minute and just go objectively, oh, maybe this isn't that good. Maybe this could be better. For me making t-shirts, I have made a couple of terrible shirts. One of the worst shirts I made, I absolutely loved. And I still sold some, but it had a ghoul coming out of a computer screen, taking a shit on the keyboard of the computer. And it said computer ghoul. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But what I think and what you think is unimportant if you're selling something. It's not about, well, I think this is cool. I think all kinds of stuff is cool. That doesn't mean it's going to sell. It's going to come down to what people want. And then also what you like to create and finding that middle road. The problem all too often is these artists who are, especially these underground rappers, man, they will just keep hitting the same note and it sounds the same, and then they wonder why nobody cares. Because I've heard 20 of your songs and I can't tell one from the other. And then they don't take the time to objectively criticize what they're doing. Same for merchandise that you're selling. If you're not objectively looking at it from an outside perspective and thinking, if so-and-so made this, would I buy it? If the answer isn't yes, like sincerely yes, not I would, don't fool yourself. Once you stop fooling yourself, you can start fooling everybody else into thinking you're better than you are. You know what I mean? Oh, that's deceptive. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Fake it till you make it type shit. You don't go out there and tell everybody, hey, I ain't shit. I'm worthless. And then expect them to praise you and fucking lift you up. You got to walk into a room and own that shit. This is my place. This is what I do. This is who I am. And when you do that, you're going to get people who are going to be like, no, you're not, motherfucker. And you're going to get a lot of other people who are going to be like, yeah, you are. And they're going to lift you above those people telling you you aren't what you are. But to be what you are, you got to tell yourself that right up front. And you got to believe it. Because if you don't believe it, they ain't going to buy it. They ain't going to believe it either. So what you need to do is you need to get off your social media. If you're a rapper or brand, whatever it is, at least when your sales are down, get off of social media. Don't tell us when you're screwing up. Don't tell us when nothing's selling. Don't tell us. When I have a shirt that is a dud and is not selling well, you will not catch me posting about it online. Oh, this shirt is not selling well. Please buy one out of pity. Nobody's going to do that. And even if you do get that pity sale, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't feel any kind of pride from that. Oh, they bought a CD after I complained. And maybe that's what's going on. Maybe they get that extra sale once or twice, but that is not sustainable. That is not the way to grow your audience or to maintain your audience. The retention will not be there. There is not a soul out there who's like, well, I pity bought that one t-shirt they sold, or I pity bought that one album they produced. But I guess I'll just keep buying them all. No. You might get that one sale that one time, but that ain't what it is. For me, I designed something that I know is going to sell. And I'll tell you how I know. Like, I can tell you how I know. And that'll be a whole nother topic we get into soon. Because I could go on about that for a bit. But what it comes down to is you can't go out here, tell everybody you ain't shit, and expect them to tell you otherwise. They're just going to agree.